Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Zoom at 8. My name is Julianne Peterson, and I am your host for tonight's Zoom at 8 and every Tuesday night. I am a loan officer, senior director at Old Capital Lending, and we are your source for debt in multifamily. Although we'll do other assets in commercial real estate, we really are specialists in multifamily. So tonight, I'm super excited. When you come to Zoom at 8 and we do a deal, I usually give you an opportunity to talk about your deal. What were some of your challenges? What were the highlights of the deal? Kenneth is here. He has done a deal. Ed's here. He's done a deal with us. Rhea's getting ready to do a deal with us. We all are talking about our experiences, and you do that so you can help others. So I just closed a deal with Waleska Iglesias, with Scott Dilley, and with Eddie Kozak, and they're here tonight because I want you to understand the struggles, the ups and downs. This is a tough business, and if it wasn't tough, more people would be doing it. So I know it can be very, very challenging, and rightfully so. So I want to introduce each of these. These guys have decided to partner together. Scott and Waleska have been partners for quite some time, and they found Eddie, who is a perfect partner in their deal, in their company. So Waleska Iglesias is the principal broker, is the principal broker and owner of XA Realty Group and managing partner of Greenstone Multifamily. She has been in real estate industry for the past 17 years. Waleska has extensive experience with negotiating short sales, probates, traditional real estate negotiations, wholesaling, flipping, a lot of single family stuff. She also got involved with buying and selling performing and non-performing notes. Ooh, she's a good one to know for that. She currently owns and manages a portfolio of rental properties and multifamily assets in multiple states. Waleska has become an esteemed real estate investor, highly regarded by her clients and professionals in the field. She's well connected and actively involved in the community. Scott, her partner, originally, he's also a principal broker of Blue Diamond Realty and co-founder of Greenstone Multifamily. He was born in Australia. Scott moved to the United States in 1991. He pursued real estate investing full-time since 2006. Scott has successfully executed various strategies in real estate, including the art of short sales, wholesales, defaulted mortgages, creative financing, rehabbing, and has fixed and flips in multiple states. And he currently owns and manages single family rental properties as well as multifamily. He has a passion for helping others and giving back. Over the years, he's traveled to Haiti, where his nonprofit Children First has provided clothing, food, education, and homes for children of Haiti. And then finally, we leave the best for last. Eddie Kozak, he brings more than 25 years of the industry to the Greenstone Multifamily. Eddie and his team have overseen more than 50 million of new construction and renovation management across 200 successful projects. In addition, Eddie has held key leadership roles within these companies, managing pre-construction, estimating, competitive bids, proposal negotiations, cost estimations, budgets, reviewing project business plans. This guy knows how to underwrite and look at every part of the deal. He accomplishes this through his key relationships with top industry manufacturers, suppliers, contractors. My goodness, he is a multifamily owner, investor, and acquisition partner. He understands the importance of cultivating strong relationships and trust and confidence with owners, investors, lenders, and vendors. And so tonight, you guys are up for a real treat to hear how did our last deal go? What were some of the challenges? How did you guys decide to get into a partnership? We've got a lot to discuss. So why did we decide to talk about capital raising? All right. Tonight, you're going to hear some straight story, some of the challenges with capital raising that these guys came upon. Want you to know the story and how they can help you understand the challenges of that, okay? So what I recommend is go to the top right of your screen and give them the speaker view. We get to see Delia and on my screen. She hasn't said a thing, but if I would love to hear from Scott. Scott's going to kick it off tonight. Scott, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, Julie. Thank you.
It's so nice to have you on here. Love working with you guys. We just took down a 3-property portfolio in Auburn, Alabama. It was a fantastic deal. It was so nice to work with you guys. Totally professional, organized, realistic expectations. It was a real pleasure. And so I want to know all about your company. How did you get started in this partnership with Eddie? You and Waleska had been working together for quite some time. Can you kind of bring the audience up to speed on that?
Yeah, so we've been working together for almost 9 years. And then we closed our first multifamily deal in July of last year. So we are by no means experts in this space. We closed that first deal in July. The transaction in Auburn, Alabama with you is our 4th transaction since then, but our first deal with Eddie as a partner. And the way it came about was our partner on the Tucson deal hired Eddie to do the property management and remodeling of that property. And so that's where we met. And I was in Tucson one time with Eddie and his team. They were down there doing some planning and working on the asset. And we were having dinner. And I asked Eddie, why isn't he doing business with our partner on this deal? Because, Eddie at that time was doing property management and construction management on our partners across all of these assets, but was not a partner on any of those deals, which I found interesting. So I asked Eddie, why don't you partner up with him and do deals? Well, he had asked to do that, and our partner didn't want to partner with him. So I thought it was a great opportunity. And Eddie's background, as you heard in his bio, has a lot of experience, we've remodeled, fix and flips, single family, but, not multifamily. So with Eddie's experience and his team, I thought it was a great opportunity for us to partner with somebody with a lot of experience. And so we were just sitting at dinner and said, well, why don't we partner up? And he thought that was a good idea too. So we talked for a bit and we started looking for deals, and the Auburn deal was the first one that we were able to land, and we've just kind of started merging together, and now we're officially together. And that's kind of how we met, and it just took off. It was really an opportunity, just asking the question, you want to partner up, and so that was some time last year. So it took a while for us to get the first deal together, but it's been great.
So in that partnership, had you had other conversations with other partners that you were looking for relationships with them and trying to build a team with somebody else that Eddie, maybe those weren't a good fit, and, Eddie bringing his talent and knowledge? I mean, obviously that's a fantastic partnership, but had you tried other relationships before? Because I think a lot of people try out somebody, that doesn't work. They try out someone else, that doesn't work. What was your experience?
No, we had not, because we were new to the space, right? So that deal in Tucson in July was our first deal. And
it's just the two of you?
Yeah. Well, fantastic. We had a third partner on that deal. Okay. That was a deal that Waleska and I had found, and then we brought in that partner. So I guess in a way, but that partner was also our mentor.
Gotcha.
right? So we were in his mentor program, education program, and that's how we got started. So we did have a partner on that deal, but we had decided that we weren't interested in partnering on future deals with him. So yes, I guess in that regard we did, but we didn't actively go out and then interview other people to try and partner with them.
Gotcha.
And this conversation with Eddie kind of happened maybe September, October last year, and then kind of went from there.
Fantastic. So Waleska, so Eddie, Scott said that you guys went with your mentor program. So can you tell us a little bit about the education program that you've done so far and why you've chosen to get involved in a mentor program? Did you find that also helpful?
Yeah, being in real estate for over 17 years, it's always been a big part, right, of real estate, having mentors, having coaching programs. I mean, that's how you learn. And so it's always been, really important for us to either join a mastermind or, some type of, whether it's conventions, we are always interested in learning in that way, networking. So yeah, that was a big thing for us, in our single family. I've always had coaches, mentors. And so when we transitioned over to multifamily, that's how we started, was our previous partner, or our partner now in the Tucsonville. We went into his mastermind, into his program. Right. Yeah, it's definitely something that that's very important, right? To do the mentoring, to learn from others, people that are more experienced.
What has been the most advantageous for you being in a mentor program?
Just learning from other people that are experienced, more experienced, that can tell you the good, bad, the ugly, about their deals, because it's not always, they don't always go smooth, like we all know. And so I think that and networking, meeting other people, because in those groups, exactly, you get to meet, people that you can partner with, sponsors, whatever. And so I think that, very important for the mentor, to do a mentorship.
Yeah, I would second that about getting access to people. You can do this on your own, people, friends of mine, and you can pay no money. It depends on how fast you want to do this. Okay. We're in this environment with real estate interest rates going up. You might be missing this by trying to do it on your own. So highly recommend the education programs. So Waleska, you and Scott have worked together for a very long time. You don't find partnerships like that work out so well. What do you think has been the key to your partnership, working with Scott working with you? What do you think is the driving force that keeps you guys strong and working together?
So first, I think we're both like-minded. We have a clear vision. We have goals that, are in the same, we want to go with the same, have goals that are aligned, right? As well, we also, we each stay in our lane. I think that's important. I think when you have partners, a lot of people tend to step on each other's toes. And so I think that's been really the key to Scott and I's success for, we've been partners for over 9 years. So just staying in our lane. I mean, we still ask for each other's opinions and, value what each other think, but I think that we each have our own roles and responsibilities within, our partnership. And fantastic. I think that's what's been key in staying together and, making it work.
Partnerships are hard. You can work a long time on developing these relationships, and you get into one deal and you find out that you might not really like this person, or they are doing things that are not legal, or that maybe they're not showing up on time. The commitment has to be there in these partnerships, and you can't develop them overnight or by Tuesday. You have to have them grow and expand over a period of time. So
just a side note there, Julie.
Yeah.
Waleska's a great boss too, so she provides me with a lot of direction, and I just follow it.
Is that true, Waleska?
No.
So you pick up Eddie, and Eddie brings a whole new dynamic to the relationship, right? I mean, he is very good at underwriting. He's very organized. How did you guys feel when, you guys are working together, you know how each other work, you brought in a third musketeer. Have you had any challenges? And maybe it's time to, do your laundry right here. Is there anything that you guys have found that's like, oh, we're gonna have to sit down and talk about this? Any challenges that have come up? Okay, good. Just like a family. The elephant is in the room. We're all going to continue on.
I'm not going to say anything. Eddie's going to get mad.
So Eddie, welcome to Zoom at 8. Glad you're here. Let's talk about your deals. Your Tucson deal that you had met these guys on. You were managing the one property in Tucson, so you knew about Tucson. And then you went to Auburn with these guys. Kind of tell me why you chose these two markets. Now, I know you may have not chosen Tucson, but you just happened to be there managing your other partners' properties. But are you continuing to look in Tucson? And tell us about Auburn.
Well, first, let me tell you a little bit about me, right? So I come from the other side of the business, right? So I came up on the operating side of this business, and our company is vertically integrated where we do asset management, property management, and construction management. And we still own and operate some of our own assets, right? So over the years, we became so consumed with doing that because it's so much work. And we took on third-party work, and we got away from our goal, right? Which our goal was to own and manage our own assets. And the last couple years, I've been shedding those layers because I want to get back to what I really wanted to do and understanding how these assets really work and all of the effort that you put in to find the deal and then to raise the money only to see them be undercapitalized or not the right plans and spend the money in the wrong places. I've come in on so many assets where they just didn't know what they were doing, right? They did all the right things to find the deal and raise the money, and then they just couldn't perform. And that's when we came in and I said no more, right? So we started to do that, and that's our goal, right? So we are very strong on the operating side. We don't raise capital. It's not my forte. Could I do it? Yes. I wanted to find people that partners, and we've had partners over the years, but I wanted to find partners that were aggressive, right? That wanted to, we got a deal, we got another one in the works, right? We wanted to build a company that was all of it. And that's what we've done, right? So my approach might be a lot different than other people because I see things kind of from the inside out, right? I don't necessarily look at a market, right, per se. I know that all the markets, the big cities, the Dallases, Atlantas, Washington, all these cities are everybody's in them, right? And I'm not playing that game. I'm more about relationships. I'm more about finding the broker, have them send me the deals, and then I'm going to find out if that's a good market, right? Because I want to find those deals that people just are going to walk away from, right? Because it's too messy. It needs, it's a value add that's outside of their buy box or something like that, right? So I don't want to restrict myself to, Nashville or to Knoxville. We're in Atlanta, which is great because we can hit a lot of different states and we cover a lot of area. And we can go anywhere, and I'm not going to go start and find a property that's 40 or 50 units in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? But I want to find one that can manage itself, right? Because we want to, if it makes sense to hire a management company, we would do that. But more than likely, we want to find a property like we did in Auburn, Alabama, right now it makes sense for us to go find those 50 or 60 unit properties to complement that, right? And, you know, that deal, when we found that deal, we were working the relationships with brokers, right? We were trying to find good deals. We knew where we wanted to be. We know we want to be in a sub-market of good areas or really strong cities that had good job growth, you know, had good school market, you know, everything, all the indicators, right? But we find the deal first, and then we see if it makes sense. And Julie will tell you, I find a deal like I did. We've got one in New Orleans, and I send it to her to say, hey, are the banks interested, right? Can we find lending? That's going to tell me if it's a good market as well, right? So we look at all those things, and that's how we find deals. And, you know, we don't limit ourselves to just a few different markets. You know, we can do it anywhere because we know how to do it. We know how to run the asset. We know how to, you know, do property management if it makes sense. Sometimes we'll hire, like in Auburn, we hired a very successful management company, and then we manage them, you know, so it makes sense to do that. And I mean, our footprint, we can go anywhere, you know, if it makes sense, if it's the right deal. You know,
you have such a great skill set that is, you know, you bring it to Scott and Waleska, and the fact that these guys are excited, Scott and Waleska they're excited people, and they believe in what they can do and believe in what you can do, and they bring capital, and just amazing how strong of a team you guys are with each one of what you guys bring to the table. So living outside of the deal, the area that you have, you live in Atlanta, you're in Auburn. How far is that? An hour and a half?
About an hour and a half.
Okay. Has that posed any problems for you?
No, because we're used to having properties that are across the country, right? So having the understanding of what you're buying is key, right? So like we don't buy anything we get on. We look at, I don't know how many different deals before we buy one, right? But we put boots on the ground. It needs to feel right, right? The deal needs to feel right. It needs to be in the right place. We pride ourselves on buying things that are value add, that we're changing, we're flipping the tenant base, we're improving the community. We just don't buy anything that is already done, it's cash flowing, it's just not our thing, right?
Yeah.
The thing with Scott and Waleska is we complement one another, right? They don't just raise capital, right? That's probably the smallest part of what we all do, right? We're looking for capital partners just like anybody, right? But they're aggressive, right? We all do. We have our own lane. Like we're going under contract on a deal this week, right? And after our first deal, we kind of knew exactly what our strengths and weaknesses were, and we kind of are filling those gaps, and it's going to be so much easier. You know, now raising the capital was a whole nother ball game for us, and that's probably why we're here.
Let's get into that, because we're here to find out how the heck you did this. So this is your first really big deal. This was a $21 million deal, right? And we had $3 million in renovation budget, something along those lines, right? And so you're really renovating the property. You're getting rid of some of the tenants that you need to move out, and you're really giving them a better place. But you couldn't do that alone. You know, you guys had capital raised, you know, on the 3 other deals, but this one posed a little bit of a challenge, right? And there was some concern, like, can we do it? No, we can't. Yes, we can. Waleska is always saying, we can do this. We can do this. You know, I love that about Waleska. And Eddie is right there behind them saying, I can get this done. That's what is so magical about you guys. But at the end of the day, you guys decided to make a decision to bring in a capital raiser. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Why did you decide to take the steps to get some help on your capital raise?
I mean, I'll start, and I'll let Waleska talk a little bit about it. But, you know, we went into this, it was about a $6.2 million raise, pretty big, right? We were we had a few investors that we've had on other deals that wanted to invest with us. Like they're, we sell ourselves, right? They know that we're going to perform. We have history. They know they're going to get their returns. And we were raising money, and we had probably about half of it raised, like before we even signed the contract, right? We were ready to go, and we were doing it more like on a pref and a back end equity, right? That's kind of how we were raising the money. And then we're like, okay, now it's getting down to it, maybe we need to bring in a syndicator, right? So then I knew somebody. It was a mistake now after the fact.
Beep, beep, beep. We're getting rid of the swear words. Beep. Okay, no, sorry.
So what we ended up doing on this deal was we raised half of the money with our own investors, and then we brought in a syndicator to raise the other half of the money, right? It was supposed to be a pretty clean deal, right? He's bringing in money, and it's more like on a 7 pref, 70-30 split type waterfall, right? Everybody does it. It sounded great. We were a little naive and just assuming that person would just do their job, right? And that didn't quite happen. It didn't quite end up that way. And we ended up, thank God we had some extensions built in, because as we went down that road, it got pretty hairy at the end. And quite honestly, he didn't perform, and we had to bring in an extra $1 million, and we were able to do that, so we learned some valuable lessons. And I think, moving forward, we're just going to be a little more cautious on how we do that.
Okay, so let's get to Waleska. Waleska, let's break this down, okay? You meet this person, and we're not going to talk bad about them, but we want to kind of identify some things that you want to look for and that may be red flags or that they have learned throughout this process. So Waleska, you meet this person probably at a conference, you meet with them, you talk about them, you do some due diligence, maybe not. Tell us, kind of walk us through that. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I hadn't met him. It was like Eddie said, it was through Eddie. I think where we failed was to vet him, right? Really go out and really find out maybe people that he, that this raiser has worked, with before, any other raises he's done, maybe reach out to those people. I think we just trusted, right, what was said, the picture he painted. And so I think, again, we just trusted, and we didn't really do our due diligence in finding out, okay, who's this person? What has he done? What type of raise, and things like that. And so that, I think, was where we failed to the previous ones, raises. It was just pretty much family and friends. So I've done a lot of private money with our flip, business, bringing in private money. So it was a lot of people that, that we knew. So it wasn't really bringing in a capital raiser. And so we just figured, well, he's big on social media, things like that. And so we just, went that route and didn't really vet him.
So you were told that they were going to bring in half the raise. And there were some demands, I think, that were placed on the transaction, that they would receive a certain amount of capital or general partnership as a co-sponsor, right? And these are the things that you're going to hear, right? Like when you have capital raisers that are in your deal, they're going to want to have a certain portion of the general partnership. It's called pro rata share. And it's put on the side for these capital raisers. So he wanted that, correct? He wanted to take 50, 15, 30, how much, a certain portion, right?
Yes, percentage of the general partnership.
Yeah. Now, did they want to sign on the loan as well? Was that a demand that they had?
No, we already had that in place. Okay. Us three, we were already the sponsors. So we had that. So we didn't, we weren't in need for him to sign on any loan. We actually, he came, past the time we had it, due diligence, it was already under contract. We had done our due diligence. And then this is when, we thought we need to for purposes of getting things done. And, we had so many other things on our plate that we thought we'll bring in a capital raiser to bring in, at least half.
Yeah.
To help us
so out. A lot of times these capital raisers, they're coming in later, as Waleska said. Some of them want to be able to sign on the loan. You don't want that. You don't want somebody that's going to say, demand, I want to have this amount, and it's not going to be in writing, right? Because if they're not capital raising, you should not have to pay them a certain amount of that GP shares unless they perform. And that is what you may see out in this space, as people are saying, yeah, I'm going to bring in 2 million, and they bring in 5, and you've told them, well, I'm going to give you a certain portion, a certain percentage of it, even if they don't deliver. Now, is that something that you found? Were you able to, since he did not deliver all of it, were you able to cut back on some of his shares?
No. And at that point, it's too late, right? Even though his portion, wasn't brought in, it wasn't like, okay, well, I'll take less, or, he was going to be part of the partnership, right? I mean, they have to be take part of everything else they can't just bring in the money and get part of the general partnership. That's against the rules.
They have to have a job,
SEC,
right?
So they have to have a job,
yeah. In
which he outlined what he was going to do, his job, everything. And so, but yeah, he didn't bring in, what he said. And so, but yeah, there was no way of going back and saying, okay, now your percentage is less. At that point, we just moved on.
A lot of the issues really, right, started from the beginning when we were bringing in money. He was bringing in money. He wanted to do his own PPM. He wanted his lawyer to do it. We had a lawyer engaged. It became a clash and a battle. And, he kept pulling and pushing what he wanted. We were saying no. We were, battling, and, it was ridiculous. And then we got about, he was slow to bring in money, right? His money didn't quite come fast enough. He had done his marketing. He had done a good job. We were on some of his calls, and, he had a lot of people, and he does have a big following, but it was slow to come in. We were right about the time where Russia was invading Ukraine. There was some uncertainties happening, and I get it. But then he throws us a curveball, like in the start of the fourth quarter, that says, hey, I'm bringing in $1 million 1031 exchange. And then all hell just broke loose at that point, because he's supposed to bring in 3 million. He was probably 800,000 at the time. $1 million is coming in from this tick who we don't know, right? It's somebody he knows. And then that created a firestorm on, the lawyer side, and all the extra money. And here we are, we're so, with our earnest money out there, with all of the money that we put out there, well, there's no turning back, right? So we were put into a pretty bad position that, we were lucky we were able to bring in an extra $1 million at the last minute and close the deal. But that was a lot of headaches.
Yeah. And you did have to extend that contract, as I recall, which cost you money. And we've talked about the rate caps. The rate cap on this deal started at $30,000. And when we closed, which was extended to our last extension, it went to $129,000. Had we closed earlier, we would not have had to have that, that increase. And I think the interest rate was fine, right? That didn't get affected.
The rate went up a little bit, but not much.
Yeah. But these are the things. Yeah. And as I recall, you were the only point person at that point. He was not talking to anybody else. So there was a lot of difficult conversations. I know from a lender standpoint, this person got in with the attorneys and was very demanding, which put this team in a very bad light with the lenders. And I'm saying, hey, the lender sees that this is not about the three of you, it's about this other person. But all of that was a reflection on the partnership, right? And this is something that you need to understand. That's why we wanted to bring it to today's conversation. So I know that there was some paperwork that he wanted you guys to sign up front, which I think you did.
Well, he wanted to bring in the other part, he wanted to bring in an equity partner for the remainder, his $1 million, the rest. So, and that was a mess as well. Brings in this equity partner with paying very expensive money, almost like hard money. When we read, basically the terms of that, we're like, there's no way we're gonna, for that, we can bring hard money. We know a lot of hard money lenders that we can, because it was basically like a hard money loan. So we said, absolutely not. We're not, this equity partner wanted to pretty much take over the deal. They actually had more expectations than the actual lender, and so that's something you have to, and that wasn't part of the initial deal. We were, offering 2 share classes, and it had nothing to do with, what he wanted to bring in for the equity for what was left. So that was very
a lot of frustration, right? And a lot of people don't realize these partnerships can make or break a deal, right? You guys are now in this, the 3 of you. He also is still participating. He will be participating throughout this transaction. How are you working things out? Is it still tense? How do you move forward? How do you resolve this? What are some of the steps that you've taken, Scott?
Well, I just put it right back on the person that brought him into the deal. So, Eddie found the golden nugget. So Eddie gets to communicate with the golden nugget. I tried to communicate with the syndicator through email. He didn't want to respond to me. I think he was on 1 phone call with us. He was always too busy to get on team meeting phone calls. That's another issue that you want to look for is, they need to be willing to participate in phone calls with the team.
Yes.
Instead, he was always too busy. And at some point he would create videos and send them back to us in response to, questions or concerns we had. And he even did that to the lender too, but so going forward, you'd have to ask Eddie how he is going to communicate that.
Eddie, you're on the hot seat.
Listen, nothing bothers me for long, right? I mean, I keep it professional. And, did he perform? No, right? Are we stuck with him as a partner? Yes, right? So for the sake of the deal, we're going to make it happen, right? I mean, we won't do another deal with him. We've learned a lesson, right? And we know what to look for in the future, but moving forward, we will communicate, right? I mean, we will have to keep it professional, and, there won't be, any kumbaya and, him sending me a Christmas gift type thing, but that's okay. You can't get along with everybody, and, you live and learn. We're going to take care of these investors as they're our own, right? And that's all we can do. And, we've learned valuable lessons, I mean, we really have. Moving forward, you have to be able to adapt in this industry, right? Even the way we raised money 6 months ago is different than today, right? The deals are completely different. So you're going to see the market change. You're going to see, as interest rates grow, deals, and deals are going to come down. But I also believe that there's going to be plenty of deals out there that I believe that a lot of them they had no plan, right? They had bad partners. They undercapitalized in them. And those are the deals that we are going to be very aggressive in buying. And we're going to build a great company for that. Greenstone Multifamily is going to take off. And I think we've got a great partnership, and, even, you, Julie, as a partner, that's valuable to us. And we're looking for good money raisers, right? We're going to raise money ourselves and into certain deals. And then there's going to be those deals where we're looking for equity partners, So, we're going to keep it real.
I love it. You guys learned a lot. And I think that's what a lot of people do, is they learn a lot, make a lot of mistakes, learn a lot. What's the next step? So maybe it sounds like you will be looking for capital raisers potentially, but you'll know what to expect and what the expectation is of them, right? Words of wisdom, one sentence. What can you tell other people that are looking for capital raisers, who are being capital raisers, wanting to find deals that you have? What's your words of wisdom? Scott, start with you.
You've got to look for someone with integrity. And we talked about this as a team. The syndicator presents himself as a very polished professional person. And so sometimes you can, as a result of that, we didn't do our due diligence on that person. And so you really have to figure out whether this person has integrity. And when this person fell short on their commitment, and then Eddie did approach them with, hey, you fell short, it needs to be a pro rata share of what you brought in of the original raise, so we need to reduce your GP ownership. His response was, no way, that's not going to happen. Now, had he had integrity, he would have just simply said, yeah, no problem, guys. I fell short on my commitment. No problem, take it out. But at that point, the LLC docs were done, the PPM docs were all signed, everything was signed, and we had no way to enforce it. So my words of wisdom would be, try to vet that person, get referrals, but look for their integrity. Have they been put in a tough spot where they've had to put their integrity first over the dollars?
Love it. Great. Waleska, what do you got? What is your words of wisdom?
For me, it's patience, right? This is a business. Raising money is not easy. Whether it's through a capital raiser, you doing it yourself. Like I heard somebody say, I have friends and family that are all, yes, we're going to do it. And at the end, they don't, so I think just having patience, it's going to come, but it's going to take a lot of work. So, without patience, you're just going to be, frustrated. It's going to be really tough on you mentally. And this business, as tough as it is, right? And so I think patience for me is a word of wisdom.
Perfect. Love it. Eddie, what does the grandfather have to say on your words of wisdom?
I always have lots of words of wisdom. Most of them people don't care. But, I guess if I had to sum everything up, we do all of this work and we do so much due diligence on a property and underwriting to understand a deal. And you may be doing all of that for nothing and you go on to the next deal. Yeah. And then you're quick to jump into bed with a money raiser that you just didn't even really vet, right? You kind of just said, okay, let's just do it. They say they can do it. And you got to put in as much time and effort into that partner as you do anybody else. And that's kind of what I would say.
That is fantastic. You guys all had the same experience, but all kind of approached that very differently and very wise. I think it is all about recovery, how much you can recognize that, things were going south and you came up with a solution. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys performed. So moving forward, you got a couple big deals coming up. Is there anything that our folks here in Zoom at 8 can be doing for you? Are you looking for capital? Can we bring you deals? What is it how we can help you?
I'll talk about the deal approach, right? We're always looking, just because we partner together, right? We are now Greenstone, right? Doesn't mean that we don't want to partner with somebody else that brings value and brings deals, right? I believe in the power of partnership 100%. I do it in everything that I do. And I think we'd be very open to deals coming our way, right? Let's see how we can partner on, because we bring a lot and we look for partners that can bring the same, right? Maybe there's equity partners that want to get into the GP side, right? They're like, I've heard a few people talk about.
Yeah.
We would be that perfect partner for somebody to do that, so we're aggressively looking for our own deals, right? We've got a team of people that are dedicated to, calling and underwriting and all of that. So we're trying to build a really good, solid foundation company that we can scale and do anything. So, we're looking for everything,
That's fantastic. Love it. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Waleska, how would they get a hold of you?
It's Waleska at Greenstone Multifamily.com. I'll put my information on the chat.
Okay.
So, yeah, anybody that, have a Zoom call, any questions, anything that that I can help with, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to jump on a Zoom call and yeah.
So maybe we make Waleska the point person for anybody at Zoom at 8 who would like to find out how they can help. You guys reach out to Waleska. Waleska is fantastic. She's straightforward. She will give you, some insight and knowledge of how you guys can work together. So let's open it up. I know we're kind of short on time here. Let's go back to the gallery. Who's got some questions for these guys? Anything that they said that maybe you need some clarity on, some of the challenges that maybe you have that maybe they can help you get some clarity on. Candace, you're always good like this. What do you got?
I was just pondering a little bit more about the vetting of the syndicator. Would you do a criminal background check on them as well?
Yes, I believe so. In fact,
we did that.
He did a criminal background on us. So he actually vetted us, but yes, you can. I think, what was that? The company CrimCheck?
Yeah.
CrimCheck is a company that, that you can use to, yes,
I think
vet the syndicator. Yeah.
I think vetting them is really finding the deals that they've done, that they've publicized, that they've done, and getting a hold of those GP, let's talk to see how that went. Right. I mean, that's super critical. And actually after and the funny thing is that I knew of him on a few deals. Right. And I just assumed they went well, and maybe they did. And maybe this was a different deal, but I think it's just like you're hiring somebody, you need to check their references. That's exactly goes the same for that.
Yep. I agree. Goes both ways for sure. Anything that this feels, hey, Frank, you're doing some capital raising. What do you think about all this? Can you understand some of the frustration, right?
Yeah, my question really, I would be privileged and humbled to be able to help Eddie and Waleska and Scott with their next capital raise. My question is, what is the shortest distance for me to help you guys with the amount of capital you're looking to raise? That's my challenge. Like I met with a vascular surgeon today, and I've got a blood clot, and he knows that my background is in dentistry, but I'm retired. And I asked him if he owns any income producing real estate, and his eyes lit up, and he was like, I'd like to learn more of what you're doing. So I'm just like, I feel like a thoroughbred with a plow harness around my neck. I'm just ready to go. I just need some direction and some, I need some assets.
Yeah.
And then and an opportunity to present. And
well, I mean, you have a great network, Frank, and you would be a great asset, not an ass, but a great asset to a team like this. And I think that you guys should be visiting.
We met Frank. Frank, we met you in Tucson.
I know that.
There
Yeah,
you go.
You're
See?
Chicago Frank, aren't you?
He's Chicago Frank. Can you
Uh-huh.
tell by his accent?
Well, I mean, I felt like the mafia was looking for me after I left that meeting.
I do think, Frank, you have a lot to offer a group like this. Micah, what do you think? What are you working on? Are you going to be bringing capital? Maybe this is an opportunity for you to learn and work with these guys.
Yeah, I would say the one question I definitely had was, especially with Eddie, with how you work across multiple markets. You know, and you said you don't tie yourself down just to one city. So like one of my thoughts with that is when it comes to like, you know, getting access to brokers in those markets and getting higher up on that broker's list of, you know, when you know, who he's going to send the deal to first. How do you get closer to the top of that list as you're jumping from market to market, you know, not spend a whole lot of time, you know, with one city? Like how do you get higher on that list quicker, so to speak, or develop that credibility with them?
Yeah, you know, it's all about relationships, right? And a lot of brokers, they like to work with the people that they know that can close. And sometimes it's tough to break into that market, right? I know it exists all over the place, right? Dallas is infamous for it, right? I mean, they have their clique and they know. Oh, yeah. So, you know, we have to prove ourselves to them, right? We have to hop on a plane, go look at a deal. I may look at 2 deals that I know I'll never buy, but it gives me face-to-face with these guys. And then we prove ourselves, right? In our underwriting template, I know underwriting inside and out, and I could talk to anybody about it, you know, their OM versus what I'm looking at. And really, I try to set myself apart as these guys really know what they're talking about. And it gives us a really big leg up, right? Having strong credibility kit, having, you know, you have to work your way in, and it doesn't mean you got to buy a piece of crap property, right, from them that nobody wants. But I want to get past the deal that 40 people are looking at, right? I want to be up against 5 or 6 people, because then you're selling yourself, you're selling your company, you're selling the fact that you're not going to retrade this thing. You've been there, you know what it's going to take. So setting yourself apart as the expert is really going to help you, right? And you're going to have to boots on the ground. I mean, that's the, you know, these people get phone calls and emails. That's okay. Our guys, we are on CoStar, right? So we watch CoStar like it's our Bible, right? We're looking at the markets, we're looking at the trends. Then I'm able to see the brokers that are in that area selling properties. And that's where we really find out who they are. Then we reach out to them. We'll go take them to lunch. You know, Scott and Waleska built a great relationship with all of the brokers in Tucson, right? And it takes, how many meetings have we had? Like 7 or 8 meetings of breakfast and lunch and dinner. And they're throwing us the garbage deals that nobody wants, and it may not fit our buy box, and we'll fire off offers. And, you know, you got to put in the work, but it can happen. I mean, and doing that, I mean, you can't just look in Atlanta, right? I mean, we look everywhere, right? And that's, you find the deal and then see if it works. That's kind of what I do.
Hey, listen, that's not a popular method, and you are so skilled. That's what's, you know, you're pretty special in that way. Not all people, all groups, all property managers, construction managers can underwrite to the extent and the professionalism that Eddie can. He is very talented in this, you guys. So,
Julie, can I just add a couple things
Sure.
to Micah's question? You know, and Micah's question was, how do you get to the top of that broker list? Just a couple things that might help people, and, you know, maybe some people are doing this already. But, you know, the first time that we went to Tucson to meet a broker, we did just that. We went to CoStar, we pulled the list of the top brokers there, and I picked up the phone, I called a broker. I really didn't know who he was down there, but I asked for a meeting. He agreed to meet with us. So we jumped on a plane and flew to Tucson to have breakfast with a broker. And during that meeting, and this is something, you know, you're trying to build a relationship with that person. And so our goal was to go there and get to know the broker. We didn't go there to ask him how many deals does he have. We had breakfast with this broker, and he talked for an hour and a half about himself and his history and his experience. And we sat and listened, and we just asked questions. By the end of that conversation, he asked if we wanted to go meet with him and tour 2 properties. We did that. And then he brought a 3rd property that they had just signed that day, and he gave us an opportunity to perform on that deal. And that's how we got our first deal. So what I'm saying is, when you go to meet with brokers, and I did the same thing in Auburn, Alabama, contacted a broker. I flew to Auburn to have lunch with a broker out there, and now we're getting deal flow. But the conversation should be more about building a relationship and getting to know the broker than talking about yourself or talking about a deal and talking about real estate. Talk about anything but real estate. Try to build a relationship with that person and get to know them. And then you've got to go back to the market every month and visit those brokers. We're in Tucson every month. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with brokers. And every time we're there, we get deals presented to us. We go look at them. Now, we don't make offers on all of them, but we're always getting deal flow from those brokers every time we're in that market.
Love it. Great, great input. Julio, what do you got?
Hey guys, thank you for taking the time. First of all, just real quick on the capital raise side, how much do you think is enough of a raise, for a project? A lot of times you hear these horror stories like you guys were talking about, that a lot of investors back out or the raiser himself didn't perform. But how much is enough raise
to get on a deal? Or
I'm saying, like verbal commitments, things like that. How much? What are you shooting for? Let's say you're trying to raise for $1 million. I mean, you gotta overshoot for that number, right? I mean, what do you guys kind of strategy is going through that?
Double it. If you're looking to raise
though.
$1 million,
Come on, realistic though.
Verbal commitments for double that, because half your people, they're not going to follow through. But Waleska has a lot of experience with talking with people on the money raising side. So go ahead, Waleska.
No, it's just when you say double it, what I'm saying is, like, if you're saying, $1 million, just count on that you can probably bring in 500,000.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your question as to, you as a capital raiser? Was that your question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get more of an expectation on because you always want to over raise, right?
Right. So whatever, yeah.
So what would be a good over raise, I guess, to be safe, to make sure you actually can perform? Yeah,
so double what you think. If you want to bring in $1 million, you want to make sure and have at least 2 million, because
and soft commitments,
commitments. Yeah. Because a lot of those people aren't going to come through, or they'll say, yeah, we got the money, but towards the end, they just, something happens. So I couldn't get it from my IRA. There's just so many things that they, I would say double the amount.
You should have a plan. I think you should have a plan B, right? So, and listen, I don't raise money that often, but when I do, I like to have a plan B, right? So like I may have to backfill that. I may have to get a hard money loan. You may have to do something to close that deal, and you may have fell $300,000 short of your raise, and you may not have the time to get it done, so you just need a plan B, and then, or align yourselves with some good equity partners that can perform. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Amen. So if you guys have capital, Bastian, you got some, capital raising skills, get a hold of these guys and see if there's a way you can help them, And Rhea may need some money here coming up. Maybe reach out to Rhea. Okay. All right. Wayne, last question. We got to get on to networking. We're running out of time.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my question. I had a couple of questions, so it's a multi-part question. Great job first, guys, on getting that deal done. And thank you, Julie, for hosting this as always. I've been missing for a couple of weeks, but thanks. So my question is, when you guys decided what your number was for the raise, were you all individually pooling your resources to start a raise, or did you just source that out? And the second question is, when you're looking for the properties that you're focusing on, are you really strictly in the MSAs, or are you looking for properties that are a little bit outside of those MSAs as well?
Eddie, what do you got?
Well, when we started to raise capital, we had an idea of what we were looking at, right? So we had some soft commits from people that we were already working with that were ready to put money into deals. And so we had a pretty good base. We were looking for a $3 or $4 million raise right out of the gate as our first deal together. So just so happened that $6 million was what we needed. So it kind of set us off a little bit, but we had a good idea of what we're looking for. Now as soon as that deal ended, we got right back into it and started to reach out to people that wanted to put money into deals. So we were working with some syndicators and working with some capital raisers and, people that wanted to put money in. So we were not starting from zero, right? So we really want to kind of get an idea that we've got people that want to put money into deals, and then we'll go find the deals and then marry it, right? So that's kind of what we do with that. And then what was the second question about the markets?
You're looking at the MSAs.
MSAs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not necessarily looking for properties that are always for sale, right? We're not looking for the properties that everybody knows about. I'm looking for the properties that they might be coming up for sale, right? It's the right owner. It's something that has been sitting, for 10, 11 years. It needs capital and they need to put it on the market. And a lot of these brokers are working these off-market deals, and that's what I'm trying to find, right? So it really I'm trying to stay away from everything that everybody else knows about. That's, it may not be always the case, but I think that's where we're going to get the deals, right? We're going to get those ones that people, they just got to get out of them,
All right, you guys, I want to thank you, Waleska, Scott, Eddie, thank you so much. I think it was super helpful. We've got a lot of people that are in a new influx of capital raisers that are looking, hey, I can't get into a general partnership. I can't find this deal, but I do have capital that I can bring to the deal. So I think that was helpful. Bill Gross has some money he wants to invest. So make sure Waleska, Scott, Eddie, you get a hold of Bill Gross. He wants to invest. He wants to talk to you. He's heard your story, and that's important that we all understand what our history is, because we want to see that, our syndicators deliver. So we're going to break out now. You're all welcome to come with me, but if you have to leave now, hurry, take with you the chat. Now, we've grown by leaps and bounds because of, I educate you, and we also network, and it's been an amazing group. So get on the phone, start talking to people, and get to know each other personally. Just like Scott said tonight, talk about your dog. Find out really who you are. Don't talk necessarily always about real estate.